Nice, facing this way. Right, okay, listen up then. So we were talking last lesson a little bit about meiosis, alright? We talked about how meiosis introduces a bit of variation at every generation. Why did we say it was important, Mr. Stilliards, to have a bit of variation in your species?
Still not all the offspring the same.
But why is that important? If they were all like me, then that would be a good thing.
One
species
gene,
can evolve.
one gene could wipe everyone out, one disease.
Okay. So what were you saying, Jake?
So species can evolve.
Yeah, so it's to do with evolution. The material of evolution is variation. Without any variation, species will stay static. And you're right, Alice, if something in the environment changes, there's a new disease or a new predator, then we've got difficulties if we're all the same, aren't we? Okay, so the key thing is meiosis equals variation. Could somebody just do me a favour? Blommers, you're quite sporty. Just run and... oh no, the lights are on. No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Blommers, just take it easy.
Can Mr. Byrne have a net box or something?
No.
Have the what?
The net box.
Those two little ones. Is that what he's after?
Yeah.
I bet it's just nicking the box.
Right. So, on this theme that meiosis introduces variation, how does meiosis introduce a little bit of variation? What did you learn last lesson that happens to the chromosomes during meiosis that causes the gametes to be different from the parent cell?
So they line, when they line up across the plate, they always line up in different order.
Okay.
Independent assortment.
Good man, Adam. So we've got this thing called independent assortment, where you've got the equator of the cell. If you imagine the equator as being like an invisible line across the middle of the cell, for each pair of homologous chromosomes, the maternal chromosome can either go on the top of the line or the bottom of the line, and the paternal chromosome goes on the opposite side. Yeah? Independent assortment. And for each 23 pairs of chromosomes can each independently assort with each other. So it means that every gamete that's produced has got a different mixture of maternal and paternal chromosomes. You're all happy with that? Good stuff. Let me tell you another way, and I spoke to a couple of you about this last lesson. Let me talk to you about another way that meiosis introduces a bit of variation. And it's to do with the fact that chromosomes line up in homologous pairs. So let's have a look at a pair of homologous chromosomes. I'll draw one on the board.
This wasn't here.
Like that. There you go. They are homologous chromosomes. What makes them homologous?
They share the same genes.
They've got the same genes on them. Yeah? If this one came from the mother, then what's this one called, Jack Sanders?
That's maternal.
If that one came from the mother, what's that
paternal,
one
yeah.
called? Okay, so maternal, paternal, right? When the chromosomes line up along the equator of the cell like this, and remember in a human cell there'll be 23 pairs of these structures lined up, they can do something called crossing over, which is where one chromosome can actually physically swap some genetic material with its partner, with its homologue. Alright? Where they are closest to each other, they can actually touch each other. Like this. Okay? And the pieces of the chromosome that are here and here actually swap with each other. Where they cross over, the actual point that they cross at, is called a chiasma.
Can it be any kind of characteristics, like good, like hair colour, sort of eye colour?
So no matter where it is.
Doesn't matter where it is, at any point along these two arms of the chromosomes, they can exchange genetic material with each other. Alright? So the crossing over is called the chiasma. The actual phenomenon in the specification is just referred to as crossing over. Yeah? But the physical location where it happens, that's the chiasma. You'll come across the word chiasma a few times in biology. Chiasma comes from some Latin root that means cross. Okay? So let's put some alleles on here. To give you an example, we'll go for brown eyes. And let's have
Roll
but that rolling tongue is a good one, yeah. So this person's got brown eyes and they've got a dominant allele for rolling the tongue, so they can roll their tongue. Tongue. I've had this debate many times. I say tongue.
It's like scone and scone.
Tom. Is
Tom.
it scone or is it scone?
Scone.
There's no answer to that question.
It's scone.
It's one of the riddles that philosophers have puzzled over since the time of the
But
ancients.
it's Tom,
Oh, since scone.
not Tom.
When I
Tom
have
is
a
scone,
house,
Tom-
when I have a
Tom-
house, if anyone refers to a scone as the word scone, I'm going to tell them to get out of my home.
It's a scone, because if you say it this way, it says cone.
Don't go around to Tom's for cream teas then. So this person's got brown eyes, they can roll their tongue, okay? Which means if they've got those alleles on this chromatid, then because this chromatid here is a copy of that chromatid, it will mean that they've got the same alleles here, so like this. So that's there. The paternal chromosome, let's just say for argument's sake, that's got different alleles. So that's got a little b. What could a little b stand for?
Brown, blue eye.
Blue eyes, yes. Good, well done. And it's got a little r. Okay? So they can't roll the tongue if they've got those alleles. Okay? Draw for me once they've crossed over and separated, what would these two chromosomes now look like? Remember, they're going to swap the tip of that chromatid with the tip of that chromatid. I'll give you a minute to do it. No, they wouldn't look exactly the same, no. Remember that they're exchanging some material with each other.
Is it just one?
Drawing what, sorry?
So once they've crossed over, once they've exchanged these, draw for me what both chromosomes would look like.
I think they'd be the same. I think it'd just be the big arm that allowed swap.
Yeah.
It's only where it's crossed, it's only them two next to it which swap.
Alright.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Two little.
I'll show you what it looks like. Right. When they finish crossing over, the chromosomes separate from each other. So this chiasma breaks between them. Right? these alleles here will be swapped over.
So if a person with two brown-eyed dominant genes and two dominant Roll-tongue genes mated with someone with two recessive blue eyes and two recessive, the kid would have two dominant and two recessive in their genes.
Well, they might
Sorry,
do.
one dominant.
They might do. Yeah. Doesn't just because they can cross over doesn't mean that they definitely will cross over at every generation. Okay? And there's nothing to say between which alleles they will cross over with each other. Yeah? So it could have happened there. It could have happened all the way down here and exchanged a large chunk of the chromosome. But the important thing is that look at the combinations of alleles now. We've got brown eye allele and rolling tongue allele on this chromatid. That's the same combination that we had before. But here, we've got the dominant allele for brown eyes on the same chromosome as the recessive allele for rolling your tongue. Yeah? That combination of dominant with recessive didn't exist before. It's a new combination of alleles. Yeah? This phenotype, brown eyes with the lack of ability to roll tongues, did not exist in the original chromosomes. Likewise, this person's got blue eyes, but they can roll their tongue, which is different from how it originally was on that chromosome. So if we continue this and we go through the process of meiosis, we're going to end up with 4 gametes. Alright? One of them will have the allele for brown eyes and the allele for rolling the tongue. One of the gametes will have brown eyes and not able to roll their tongue. The other one, blue eyes, dominant, rolling the tongue. Okay? So not only are these gametes different from the parent cell, they are different from each other as well, which is another difference between meiosis and mitosis. Daughter cells are not identical to each other. In mitosis, the daughter cells are identical to the parents and they're also identical to each other. They're all clones of each other. Meiosis, because of crossing over, because of the fact that they can swap alleles between the 2 chromosomes, introduces these new combinations of alleles that weren't present in the previous generation. And that is extremely important for introducing variation into the species.
So good if you get like all the